So what is the PAYS? A PAYS is a voluntary survey that's been conducted in schools across the Commonwealth every other year since 1989. The survey is given to youth in the 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grades. And what that allows us to do is to track a cohort of youth. The same general class of kids will be taking the survey every other year. So you can follow the same group of kids as they proceed through their educational career. A kid that takes it in 6th grade will take it again in 8th grade, and that allows you to see if there's been any change to the risk and protective factors or surveillance data that can help inform the prevention programming and policies that you want to put into place. The survey is a combination of what's known as the Community Care Youth Survey, as well as the Generation at Risk National Survey. The Generation at Risk Survey contains a whole lot of surveillance information: 30-day usage, lifetime usage, age of first onset, those types of questions. And in the late 90s, the Commonwealth decided to combine that survey with the Community Care Youth Survey. And that's where you get the risk and protective factor information that's going to be a major focus of our presentation today. Over the years, Pennsylvania has also decided to add additional questions on areas that there's a great interest at both the state and local level. These have included gambling, prescription drug use, mental health issues such as depression, and other antisocial behaviors such as internet safety, bullying, violence on school campus, those sorts of questions. The PAYS survey assesses youth behaviors, attitudes, and knowledge. And this is a very important part because we're getting information directly from the youth that we're serving. This is the only way to get this information and is an important component when you're making prevention plans to know exactly what your youth believe, what they know, and what sorts of behaviors are they engaging in. The survey is anonymous and confidential in addition to being voluntary. That means that no individual student information can be obtained from the data set. And survey research indicates that by having a survey that's anonymous and is unable to identify individual student level responses, kids are more likely to give honest answers to the questions and provide more value to the data for both policy planners as well as school administrators and state officials. Why is the PAYS useful? Well, first it's important to remember that while the survey is administered in the school, because that's where the kids are, it is not a reflection on an individual school building or school district. Rather, PAYS gathers information across multiple domains: community, school, family, and peer and individual domains, which allows you to see risk and protective factors that can affect how kids make decisions about the behaviors they choose to engage in. And again, this is going to be a primary focus, and the RPF information can be very valuable and instrumental when you're deciding programs to choose and which problem behaviors are most prevalent in your local communities that should be addressed. The PAYS can inform decision-making at both the state and local levels. It's a low-cost assessment of needs at both these levels and allows prevention planners at both levels to direct the scarce resources where they're likely to have the greatest impact. And in today's economic climate, that obviously is a major priority for all of us, making sure that the limited funds that we do have go to impact the greatest number of kids and the greatest level problem behaviors. The PAYS also can provide benchmarks for ATOD use, alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and then antisocial and delinquent behaviors. So you can track the progress over time to see exactly what sorts of impacts you are having on the kids and families that you're serving. One major question we always get is, how do we know that the PAYS is a valid survey? How do we know that what the responses we're getting can be counted on when we are making these decisions? Well, first and foremost, the voluntary, anonymous, and confidential is an important attribute of the survey to keep in mind. As I mentioned, the more assurance a student has that their answers will not be held against them, that he will not get in trouble with his parents, with his teachers, with his principal, the more likely they are to give honest answers. But we do know that not every student is going to take a survey as seriously as we would like. So there is an analysis conducted of all the survey data, and we remove surveys that trip flags on these 5 areas. Exaggerated drug use. For example, if a student is reporting using heroin 10 times a day, it's pretty likely that student is not really taking the survey seriously as it's highly unlikely that someone that large a drug issue is going to be in the school building in the first place to take the survey. There's a fictitious drug known as Durbisol. Students reporting lifetime use or 30-day usage of that drug also have their surveys removed. If there's inconsistent information in drug use, for example, they report that they had used alcohol, say, 3 to 5 times in the last 30 days, but in another question report that they have never used alcohol in their lifetime, that inconsistency will cause the surveys to be removed as well. And then finally, if a student answers less than 25% of the questions, we consider that survey instrument not having enough of a response to be counted in the overall tallies for the local or the statewide sample. To give you some perspective, in the 2009 survey, only 5.7% of the total number of surveys administered, which is about 140,000, had a questionable validity and were removed from the analysis. So based on that, we can see that the kids that are taking this do take it seriously and are providing us with information that can be extremely valuable for our purposes. Okay, we have a question. Students know about Durbisol. Can it be changed in the next one? Yes, we are well aware of that, and we actually discussed that as we were preparing the 2011 instrument. We had decided that for 2011 we were going to keep the changes to the absolute minimum possible so that we had consistency with the 2009 report. The state is currently beginning a process for our 2013 report looking at a redesign of the instruments, and Durbisol is one of the issues that we will be changing. We will have another fictitious drug that will be used for the 2013 survey. If you do a Google search on the word Durbisol, the first thing that comes up is a fictitious drug that's often used in youth surveys to serve as a check on student responses. So yes, the kids do know what that is for the most part by now, and we will be changing it for the 2013 administration.